Experience Center. With us today, we have Terry O'Neill. Terry, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Terry O'Neill. I
A
am
little
with
closer. Probably a little closer. Is that on? Red light?
Red Light.
Good. We're good. We're good.
We're good. So I am Terry O'Neill. I work for Citi. I've been with the company about 22 years, and I am currently responsible for embedded commerce and strategic initiatives for Citi Retail Services, which is the division that partners with some of the largest retailers in the U.S. to offer point-of-sale financing.
Excellent. So off of that title, will actually bring us to the first question. So your title is Managing Director, Head of Embedded Commerce and Strategic Growth. So embedded finance is a very broad category, obviously. What exactly is embedded commerce, and how is it used by Citi?
Sure. Well, I'll start with a couple of key things. Anand Selva, the CEO of private banking, of personal banking and wealth management for Citi, shared on Investor Day that one of our core strategic priorities was to double down on the tool chest that we have within point of sale lending to drive growth for the organization. That's the core remit of the embedded commerce team. Citi's been in point of sale lending for decades, nearly 30 years.
Sure.
And over those 30 years, we've continued to invest in core capabilities that help us to embed seamlessly into the customer shopping journey to ensure that we could make split-second credit decision when a customer is trying to purchase at the point of sale, whether that be the physical point of sale or the digital point of sale. I think when you think about embedded commerce, it really speaks to how we're interrogating all of our products and all of our capabilities to ensure that we can operate at the speed of retail and meet the customer demands when they're making that purchase decision.
I like that, at the speed of retail.
That's been our core remit for as long as we've been in the space, right?
Wonderful.
We operate at the behest of the merchants that we're fortunate to serve.
Yeah.
And we also view ourselves as shepherds of their brand. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that as we integrate into the shopping journeys and as we integrate into the point of sale, we're not disrupting that shopping cart. Our goal is to help a customer move through that decision process and that application process as seamlessly and easily as possible and deliver them back into the point of sale with payment credentials so they can make that first transaction. We think if we do that right, we win the ability to continue to serve our merchant partners, but we also win the right to continue to develop a relationship with those customers. We think about building long-term relationships with both our merchant partners and the customers that we serve. It's not just about one transaction, it's about a long-term relationship for us.
Absolutely love it. So banks have been longtime players in the PLCC market, or the private label credit card market. Most of us, or many of us, have PLCC cards in our wallet. Now that we've begun to see banks enter the digital apply and buy, if you'd like to call it, point of sale consumer financing category, what would potentially influence shoppers to use a bank brand in their checkout finance journey?
Sure. Well, I'll start this by saying, right, as I said earlier, Citi's been in the apply and buy space for decades, 30 years. And we're fortunate enough to partner with 5 of the top 15 e-commerce retailers.
Sure.
I don't say that to brag. I say that because it underscores that we've been in the digital apply and buy space.
And you must be doing it right.
For decades.
You've been earning their continued trust.
Well, that's a core part of our strategy, right?
Absolutely.
As I said, make sure that we continue to earn the right to serve our merchants and to operate within the point of sale. You know, when it comes to consumers, I think there are a couple of key things that we do particularly well. We believe that we sit at the intersection of merchants and customers. We're there when a customer is trying to buy something and a merchant is trying to sell something. That gives us an opportunity to design for both sides of the purchase equation. You know, the example that I'll give you is, as I was saying earlier, we strive to make split-second credit decisions and to never disrupt the point of sale. While that design philosophy started with the merchant in mind, right? Don't interrupt my ability to make a sale. Help the customer move through the shopping cart as quickly as possible. You can't do that if you don't design with the customer in mind, right? That comes down to how embedded are the financing offers throughout the shopping journey. Are you in more places than just the shopping cart? When the customer selects you as the payment option, how easy is it for them to move through the application? Are you using an intuitive interface? Are you using a conversational design so that they can move through the application quickly? Are you making a decision in a split second? Those are the moments of truth. When a customer is standing at the point of sale, wanting to make a purchase, how quickly do you move them through? And do you deliver them back into that shopping cart with the ability to execute that transaction? We think from there, if you get all that right, you have the right to have a longer term relationship with the customer.
I like that. You have the right. You got to earn it. Continue.
You have to earn it. Yeah, and you have to continue to earn it, right? Our point of view and what we've continued to invest in is to make sure that we seamlessly integrate into the shopping journey, that we are in the physical channel and the digital channel, that we're not just in the shopping cart, but we're on product pages and search pages, right? That we're using a conversational user interface for the application, that we're sharing credentials so that we can streamline the application process. All of those investments give us the right to have a longer term relationship with the merchant and a longer term relationship with the customer. Once we earn that right from a customer perspective, we've invested in other capabilities that enable us to drive ongoing engagement through existing customer management and through digital servicing strategies.
Wonderful. Removing hurdles, increasing fluidity. With all the growth and buzz in the world of embedded finance, what excites you the most right now about the vertical, and where do you see the vertical evolving, I'd say, over the next 24 to 36 months?
So I would say what I'm most excited about is the pace of change, mainly because there's increased competition in the space.
Yeah.
And that competition fuels innovation, and that innovation translates into more choice for merchants. It helps merchants drive sales. It helps merchants manage their margins. It also gives customers more flexibility when they're choosing how to pay or how to manage their budget. So I think what we'll continue to see is increased competition in the vertical. I think we'll continue to see innovation in the vertical. I think we've only scratched the surface.
Sure.
Right now, I think many players in the space are thinking about it from a transaction basis. I think we'll start to see people start to think about it in terms of how you build longer term relationships with both the merchant and the consumer, and how that translates into loyalty propositions, pricing strategies, expanded product strategies.
So there's been a lot of talk over the past year around buy now, pay later, provided by the pay in 4 providers. There are clear and evident changes happening in the market surrounding types of lending products, and the consumer behavior changes in relation to the products that are offered to the shoppers. Where and how do you see point of sale finance as part of the embedded finance or as part of embedded finance evolving over the next few years, and how will shoppers' behavior evolve as well with more finance products being offered during the same shopping experience?
So that was a long question.
It was.
I want to make sure I got it. It's essentially how do I see customer demand changing over the next couple of years, and how that translates.
Particularly in change with all the changes that are going on in the market with the payment floors.
I think we'll continue to see demand for point of sale financing. I think consumers have spoken, and they want the flexibility and they want the choice. I also think we'll see different types of consumers start to think about point of sale financing, right? As we talk to consumers and as others in the space have spoken to consumers, a very large percentage of them, 60+%, say they'll consider a point of sale lending solution to make a purchase. And that's not just specific to certain credit categories or certain types of customers. What we're seeing is it's becoming much more expansive. And even more affluent customers or higher credit quality customers are starting to look for point of sale financing solutions. I think that's driven a lot by merchants, and as merchants start to integrate more financing solutions into the point of sale, more consumers are getting exposed and are thinking about them as a financing option. So I think we'll continue to see it expand. I think we'll continue to see the demand driven by consumers. I think merchants will continue to integrate point of sale financing into their points of sale. And as I said in the previous question, I think you'll continue to see providers like Citi and others innovate in the space, not just from a product perspective, but also from a loyalty perspective.
And taking that to the last question, I would say around innovating in this space and Citi get involved. So personally speaking, I believe that banks are the rightful owners of consumer finance, or the consumer finance category. I've actually been saying that for the 3 years. I've been seeing for the past 3 years. I've been seeing the changes that are happening in the market. I mean, at the end of the day, one of the bank's core missions is being lenders. Lending experiences should be easy to understand and to use, and for many banks, not in the case of Citi, not all banks are able to do that correctly. So with many shoppers, especially millennials and Gen Zers, they might see some of the banks as old, bureaucratic institutions that are not entirely user-friendly. How can embedded finance help banks change that perception and adapt to the shopper's needs going forward?
That's a great question, and thank you for exempting us.
Oh, absolutely.
for not
You guys
being
are innovating, and you've been doing this for 30
in the
years.
Space. Yeah. Look, I think it comes down to, the way that we address the first question,
Yep.
right? We think about constantly earning the right to serve our merchant partners and to serve their customers. And in order to do that, it comes down to a couple of key things. It comes down to making sure that you design your products and your services and your integration capabilities with the customer at the center of that. And it's not just the end user, it's also the merchant. You have to design for both of those. I think, when you talk about getting folks to consider point of sale financing, whether it's from a bank or an issuer or whomever it may be, you have to build awareness. And by building awareness for the product, it's about integrating it throughout the shopping journey.
Sure.
So that the first time the customer's seeing it isn't when they're trying to check out, but it's
Right.
when they're searching for the products, and how you're showing them how that product can make that purchase easier for them to
yeah.
make. Right, that's the first piece of it, building awareness and
Yep.
intent. From there, it comes down to how easy it is for them to get the product, right?
Sure.
If you make it super difficult for somebody to apply for a product, they're going to abandon the process. So a conversational user interface, moving them through the application quickly, and it pulls its way all the way through to the credit decision and how closely embedded you are with the merchant. Are you sharing credentials? Are you sharing the requested sale amount so that we have an understanding of what the consumer is attempting to purchase and how much that purchase is going to be, so that we can use that in our underwriting decisions? All those are moments of truth for the consumer, right? It starts with building a product that is going to resonate with them, creating a value proposition that is going to resonate with them. And we do that in Citi specifically, right, as one of the largest global issuers in the world, the largest global issuer in the world. We have access to a tremendous amount of data. We leverage that data to help inform our merchant partners about their customer. How do they think about credit? How are they shopping? Where are they shopping? We use that to design the consumer value propositions that we put in front of them. We use that to design the pricing strategies that we put in front of the customer. All those things encourage a customer to not just become aware of the product, but to consider the product when they're thinking about how to pay. And it doesn't stop there, right? It comes down to how easy do you make it for them to apply
Absolutely.
and get the product.
Of course. Terry O'Neill, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.